Imagine walking into a grand cathedral in 16th century Italy. Sunlight filters through stained glass, illuminating walls covered in the most breathtaking paintings you've ever seen. Statues stand proudly, seemingly alive in their marble forms. What you're witnessing is the High Renaissance, a golden age in art history where human genius reached extraordinary heights. This was a time when artists weren't just painters or sculptors, they were scientists, engineers, and philosophers. The High Renaissance, spanning roughly the 1490s to the 1520s, marked a perfect fusion of art and science, producing some of the most famous and celebrated works in Western culture. But what made this period so exceptional, and why did it happen when and where it did? Let's journey back to Florence and Rome and explore the world of the High Renaissance. The seeds of the High Renaissance were planted during the early Renaissance in Florence. Think of it as a laboratory where artists like Giotto and Masaccio experimented with perspective and realism. But by the late 15th century, Florence had given the world all it could. The center of the art world shifted to Rome, thanks to the ambitious popes who wanted to beautify the city and reinforce the power of the Catholic Church. At the same time, Europe was experiencing the intellectual revolution of humanism, a philosophy that celebrated human potential, beauty, and intellect. Humanists believed that humans could achieve greatness through study, exploration, and creativity. This spirit of humanism seeped into every brushstroke and chisel mark of the High Renaissance, where art became a celebration of life, knowledge, and divine inspiration. So, what exactly defines the High Renaissance? The answer lies in three key ideas: perfection, balance, and the union of art and science. Artists of this period sought to achieve the ideal beauty of the human form, creating works that were harmonious, proportioned, and almost mathematically precise. They took everything the early Renaissance developed, perspective, anatomy, and naturalism, and pushed it to its absolute peak. The High Renaissance was the age of sfumato, a technique developed by Leonardo da Vinci, where colors and edges blend smoothly, creating a smoky, lifelike effect. It was the age of contrapposto, where figures stood in relaxed, natural poses, their weight shifting elegantly. This was art as a perfect mirror of nature, science, and imagination. One name towers above the High Renaissance like a colossus: Leonardo da Vinci. Imagine an artist who painted the Mona Lisa, an engineer who designed flying machines, and a scientist who dissected human cadavers to understand anatomy. Leonardo embodied the very spirit of the High Renaissance. In works like The Last Supper, he mastered perspective, using lines to draw the viewer's eye to Christ at the center. But Leonardo wasn't just interested in creating beautiful images, he was obsessed with understanding the world. His notebooks are filled with sketches of human muscles, water currents, and even embryonic development. To Leonardo, art and science were two sides of the same coin. His relentless curiosity and quest for perfection made him the quintessential High Renaissance artist. If Leonardo was the mind of the High Renaissance, Michelangelo was its muscle. His work radiates power, grandeur, and raw emotion. As a sculptor, Michelangelo could take a block of marble and see a figure trapped within it, waiting to be set free. His David, carved between 1501 and 1504, is a masterpiece of human strength and beauty, standing 17 feet tall and filled with a sense of tension and life. But Michelangelo's genius wasn't limited to sculpture. When Pope Julius II commissioned him to paint the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, Michelangelo created a visual epic of biblical scenes. Figures like Adam and God seemed to float in space, their bodies infused with grace and power. Michelangelo's art captured the divine spark within humanity, blending muscular realism with spiritual intensity. While Leonardo and Michelangelo were known for their intensity, Raphael brought balance and grace to the High Renaissance. His paintings are like visual symphonies, each element carefully arranged to create harmony. Raphael's most famous work, The School of Athens, is a perfect example. Painted in the Vatican, it shows the great philosophers of antiquity, Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, gathered in a grand architectural setting. The composition is a masterpiece of balance and perspective, with each figure posed elegantly, their gestures natural yet meaningful. Raphael's art is a celebration of human intellect and beauty, capturing the ideals of the High Renaissance with clarity and elegance. His untimely death at 37 marked the beginning of the end for this golden age. The High Renaissance wasn't just about paintings and sculptures. Architecture, too, reached new heights of elegance and precision. The great architect Donato Bramante transformed Rome with his designs, including the Tempietto, a small but perfectly proportioned temple that became a symbol of Renaissance ideals. The Tempietto's circular form, columns, and dome harken back to ancient Roman architecture, but with a Renaissance twist. Everything balanced, measured, and mathematically harmonious. This period also saw the early designs of St. Peter's Basilica, with Bramante's vision laying the foundation for what would become one of the most iconic buildings in history. The High Renaissance in architecture reflected the same drive for perfection and unity that fueled the great artists. Like all golden ages, the High Renaissance had to end. By the 1520s, political instability, wars, and the rise of new artistic styles began to shift the landscape. The sack of Rome in 1527, when soldiers pillaged the city, marked a symbolic end to this era of creativity and grandeur. But the legacy of the High Renaissance didn't vanish. Instead, it transformed, giving rise to mannerism, a style that took the ideals of the Renaissance and twisted them into more complex, exaggerated forms. Yet, the achievements of Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Raphael continued to inspire artists for generations. The perfection they achieved set a standard for art that remains unmatched. The High Renaissance was a brief but dazzling moment in history when art, science, and humanism fused together to create masterpieces of enduring beauty. It was a time when artists reached for the heavens, exploring the potential of the human mind and body. The works of Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Raphael still captivate us today, reminding us of what humans can achieve when creativity, curiosity, and skill converge. As you look at a Renaissance painting or walk through a Renaissance building, remember, you are witnessing the peak of art, a testament to the timeless quest for perfection. And perhaps, through these works, we too can be inspired to reach for our own heights of creativity and understanding.